Nitrosites, it is your boy the Nitro General here, and welcome back to another top 5 video. Now, I was going to have another Pokemon Showdown video for you guys today, but I kind of want to space this out a little bit. We had the Team Builder on Tuesday, we had Pokemon Showdown last night, and we're going to have this top 5 today, and who knows, there could be another video tomorrow since I have a little bit of free time, so hopefully there might be even a Pokemon Showdown video tomorrow, so we'll see. I just kind of wanted to space it out a little bit, give you guys some time to sink in. So if you guys like that Pokemon Showdown stuff, go check that out. There's a playlist on the channel if you guys want to check out all of the different Pokemon Showdown videos that I have done. Right now, currently, there's been 3 episodes of Pokemon Showdown and 1 episode of the Team Builder for Pokemon Showdown. They're all in the same playlist. So if you guys want to check out any of those, go and check out those playlists. So, yeah. So I made this today, and I kind of wanted to do a top 5 going over. The other thing I did want to say quickly before we get into it is that we have thumbnails for the channel, which I think is really cool. Makes them look a little bit more professional. I think they're pretty awesome. I do make them myself, as you can tell, because they're not professionally made whatsoever. They're actually like really bad, but I think they're better than having crappy pictures of my face or random pictures from part of the episode. So yes, there is thumbnails for the video. So if you do see this video without a thumbnail, that is just because I haven't got to it yet, and that is only because I have to upload the video first and then do the thumbnail. So there may be a little bit of leeway between the time that the video goes live and the thumbnail, but chances are I don't have enough subscribers that watch my videos immediately after they come out, so chances are you're gonna be seeing this with a thumbnail. And yeah, I really like them. If you guys have any ideas on how they could be improved or anything like that, let me know down in the comment section below. But let's get right into today's top 5. And as you can tell by the title of the video, and you can tell by the title here on the slide, is today's top 5 is going to be my top 5 favorite features in all of Pokemon. Now, I did a video not too long ago going over things that I believe that Pokemon should bring back. 5 features that I think Pokemon should be bring back. These aren't necessarily all features that I think they should bring back. They're all just my favorite features from any Pokemon game ever created. Things that that I spent a lot of time on, things that I always enjoyed, little tiny features of the games that I loved, and not necessarily think that they should bring back. I will mention if in every one of these if I think they could bring these back seamlessly or not. Chances are I think there's only like 1 or 2 of them that I think they could bring back, but yeah, I don't. Most of these things are just things that I spent so much time on in the video games and I loved in general. So let's just get right into the video. Yeah, there won't be, none of these are going to be from the Game Boy games, because if any of you played the Game Boy Pokemon games, you know that there's not really any post-game for any of those. There was some, but not really very much. So after you beat the game, there isn't a ton to do, and there isn't really a ton in those games that really stood out to me as there was when they started in the DS. So let's just get right into it. So coming in at the number 1 spot, and the first one on this list, is Pokemon Refresh. Now, if you guys don't know what Pokemon Refresh was, it was a feature added to Pokemon X and Y, and it was in X and Y, it was in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it was in Sun and Moon, and it was in Ultra Sun and Moon, and there's kind of an adaptation of it in Let's Go, but you can only do it with your Pikachu or Eevee, and then in Sword and Shield it was replaced by Pokemon Camp. So if you guys don't know what Pokemon Refresh is, then you probably are right new to the Pokemon series. But basically, in X and Y, it was basically just what you see here with the Mimikyu, where it just allowed you to pet the Pokemon and allowed you to feed it like little apricorn things, and it increased their happiness and stuff like that. It also was the way that you got Sylveon, is you had to get like 3 happiness hearts with Eevee. Now it's a lot different, but that's how it was in these games. And in Ultra Sun and Moon, I believe it was only in Ultra Sun and Moon, over on the right side with Greninja, after a battle, you could go into Pokemon Refresh. It looks like you're there in the Elite Four right now. And if your Pokemon had a status condition, you could use the thermometer, to heal them of their status condition, whether that be poison, sleep, paralysis, freeze, I don't know, any of that kind of stuff. It was really cool. It also allowed you to use the different other tools to wipe off like dirt or stuff like that off your Pokemon and it would heal a percentage of their health back after each battle, which is a really, really cool adaptation to Pokemon Refresh, but isn't why I fell in love with the feature itself. The reason I fell in love with the feature itself is because of the whole petting mechanic of the Pokemon. It really added a good way of being able to bond with your teammates. Whether that was just going in there and petting their head after a good battle and being like, you did a good job. And I mean, it is just a video game, and it is kind of, I don't know, kind of weird, but at the same time, if you're not a huge Pokemon fan, if you're a Pokemon fan at all, you know that you actually do develop a lot of relationships with your Pokemon that you have in your party. Pokemon that you just love, and you really develop like a connection with them. And a lot of the times it's so cool to be able to go in there after the thing and just pet them a little bit. And though, I mean, there was a time when I went through every single one of the Pokemon in Ultra Sun and Moon and just, pet them all just so I could see all the animations, because they had really, really cute animations of when you pet the Pokemon. And you could do this with legendary Pokemon. You could have an Arceus sitting there and be like, "Hi, how you doing, buddy?" and like petting his head and shit. I mean, that was just something I loved. Just being able to create a bond between your new Pokemon that I think is just really, really, really cool. And it was replaced by Pokemon Camp and Sword and Shield. And Pokemon Camp is kind of cool. Just the fact that you can see the 3D models of the Pokemon running around. You can use the ball with them. You can use that, the cat-looking toy thing. The cat toy-looking thing, not the cat-looking toy thing. But, yeah, the cat toy-looking thing. You can play with that with them. Stuff like that. I think it's really, really cool, too. But at the same time, it just doesn't give you the whole, petting the Pokemon close-up like that and seeing the 3D models. That was always really, really cool. Now, do I think they could bring this back easily in the next Pokemon game? I don't know. Because, as you guys know, if you played any of the Pokemon games on the Switch, you know that none of the Pokemon games, out of the 4 that have been released, well, I guess you could say 2, because you have Let's Go games and Sword and Shield, but I was thinking like Pikachu, Eevee, and then Sword and Shield. Out of those games, not one of them is touchscreen, so you can't touch on the screen to pick the options. Now, I think that was a major flaw, because I don't understand why they wouldn't just make it so you could click it, because a lot of different games, the Switch is touchscreen. When you exit out of the game, you can touch the screen and do all that kind of stuff, but you can't in the Pokemon games, and it kind of sucks. So the only way for them, if they continued this stretch, then if they bring back Pokemon Refresh, it would probably be with the joysticks, and you just, bring it over, or if you take the joystick off and do the same thing that they did with Let's Go. But at the same time, it wouldn't give you the same bond. It wouldn't have the same feeling of actually being able to touch the screen and pet the Pokemon. If they change that, then to being able to touch the screen, then yeah, I think that they would be awesome to bring back. But because they haven't yet in the games, I don't think they're going to bring him back, and it kind of sucks, because I loved Pokemon Refresh. But yeah, so let's move on to the number 2 spot, and the next one on this list is the Safari Zone. Now, the first 2 pictures on the right here are of the Safari Zone in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I believe this one, the Aquatic Zone, the Flying Zone, the Grass Zone, the entrance in the Mountain Zone, I believe those are Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I'm not totally sure. And then this one here is of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Safari Zone. Now, the only games, to my knowledge, at a Safari Zone were Gold and Silver, Ruby and Sapphire, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Now, I could be wrong. I don't think they put them in the Sinnoh games. I could be wrong, but I don't think they did. And I didn't spend as much time in the one for the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, because at that time I just completed the National Dex by sending Chimchars up into the GTS and literally getting anything for them. Like, when I mean like getting anything, I mean I got Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos for Chimchars. And that, I highly recommend that if you're doing if you need any Pokemon whatsoever, because people want starters. But so I didn't have much of a need to go into the Safari Zone. But let me tell you, in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I played in that Safari Zone for hours and hours and hours at a time. Obviously, as you can see in the far left picture, This was what you saw on the DS, the whole thing where you could move around the different places you could get. There were 6 that you could have at one time, but there were more than 6. You could bring them in, you could move them around, so certain Pokemon spawned in the certain squares at, I don't know if it was certain times a day, but I know that it was then. And when those games came out, I had the strategy guide for Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Ever since then, I've gotten the strategy guide for every Pokemon game except for X and Y, I believe, yeah. But I have gotten the strategy guide for all of these games. And playing through Heart Gold and Soul Silver in that strategy guide, I actually had, they showed the pictures of all of them. They showed you exactly how to do it. They showed you what Pokemon did. So I remember spending hours at a time with this book. A 10-year-old me sitting there with the book, looking from the book to the DS to the book to the DS, looking at all these different things and trying to match them together so I could catch the certain Pokemon that I wanted to catch. And I spent so much time in it. And the Safari Zone was just something that I love in Pokemon so much. Now, do I think that they could bring it back? I don't think they could bring it back, and here's why. Unless they do a remake, because as we know, one of the biggest remakes that I believe that they're going to do next is the Sinnoh remakes of Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. And I don't think there was a Safari Zone in those games. So if there wasn't, then they're not going to put anything, like any places into the game that you weren't able to get to in the first, in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Well, I mean, like, smaller places they might, but I mean, like, big things. Like, they're not going to add a Safari Zone. If they do ever do remakes of any of the other games, like the Gen 2 or Gen 3 remakes again, then they might do a Safari Zone again. But I don't think that they're going to do a total... Really? I don't know why it reminded me right now. Sorry about that. So, yeah. So, I don't think they're going to bring them back into a new generation of Pokemon. Because, transferring Pokemon from one game to another is so big right now. Being able to transfer them from your 3DS Pokemon game to Pokemon Bank, to Pokemon Home, to Sword and Shield, there is less of a need for special places to catch special Pokemon. Just because there is such of a thing of transferring Pokemon. Now, of course, I know there are some people who are like, I don't want to transfer any Pokemon, blah, 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 what Pokemon I have and what games or what Pokemon that I have, and I get that. But at the same time, I'm going to be transferring the Pokemon. If I don't have to spend the time finding these rare Pokemon because I already have them and I can transfer them in, that's what I'm going to do instead. And the Safari Zone was always a place to catch rare Pokemon. So unless they do a brand new generation and add in specific new Pokemon that you can only catch in the Safari Zone of this only region, then there isn't going to be too much of a need to go into the Safari Zone. And at the age I am right now, I don't have the time to sit and sift through the Safari Zone and try to find certain Pokemon. But when I was a kid, it was so much fun, and I have such fond memories of playing through Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Safari Zone. Such fond memories. I remember sitting on cars and road trips and looking through that book in my DS, and it was something that I really, really enjoyed, but I don't think that it fits in to a new region unless they do a remake of a previous generation that had one. So that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below if you think that the Safari Zone could be added seamlessly, because I want to know what everybody else thinks. But to me, I don't believe that they would bring it back. So let's get into the number 3 spot on that list, and that is the Dexnav. Now, of course, the Dexnav is exclusive to Hoenn in the Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire games. You cannot get the Dexnav in any other Pokemon game, and it was always something that I loved, and not only because it was my favorite shiny hunting method, because that is one reason why I love the Dexnav so much, but let me tell you why. So, the main thing of the Dexnav is to tell you what Pokemon are available on every route. And the coolest thing about that is that if you were on a route and you went to the Dexnav, if you have seen the Pokemon at one point or another, it would show up as a black silhouette of the Pokemon on the Dexnav until you encountered it or caught it. I don't remember. And then it would show up as the regular picture. And then, of course, there's a little crown up in the top right-hand corner to show that they caught every Pokemon. And that was super cool to me because I always loved being able to use the strategy guide to see what Pokemon were on each group. However, using the Dexnav, you know for a fact that there are other Pokemon on the route that you haven't caught yet if you don't see that crown. Even if you haven't encountered them, they won't show up as a silhouette, but you know that there's another Pokemon on that route you can catch. And that is what is super cool. And of course, yeah, it does show if they're on the water or on the land. So if you don't have surf or anything yet, then it could just mean that you can't encounter these Pokemon yet. But it was always something that was really cool because it allowed you to know if there was other Pokemon that you had to catch in that route or not. And that was always something that I found extremely useful, because knowing that there was another Pokemon that I could possibly add to my team, I just had to find it. That was, really, really cool. And on top of that, it also shows if you could specifically catch the Pokemon in the water or on the grass. Because as you can see, like the Magikarp, the Goldeen, and the Corphish, and all of them are in the water, meaning that you can only catch those Pokemon in the water. And then there are other Pokemon in the grass. Like there's another Surskit in the grass. I mean, you can catch the Surskit in both the grass and the water. And the Whirlpool, and the Poochyena, and the Lillipup, and the Zigzagoon, and the Gothorita, and the Lotad, the Routes are all Pokemon that you can specifically catch in the grass, and it shows you that, and that is so cool to me. And I always just loved the whole keeping track of the Pokemon in every route. That was just my favorite thing in the Dexnav. Also, right there you have the map. Also, just an easy one click right there to the map, so you don't have to worry about going in your bag, finding the map. You don't have to worry about hitting a hotkey. Everything like that is right there if you need to know where you are or where to go and stuff like that. Really, really cool, really fast, really neat. And then you had the thingy down here from X and Y that they brought back in the next game that's got Pokemon Refresh. It's got the bit, like the online thingy on there too that you can check out. And that was always super cool because it was right there again. You could just click on that, take it right there. And at the very bottom you have the news station that basically told you about the mystical islands and caves and stuff like that. And the Mirage Spots, that's what they call them. And I always thought that was super cool, just having everything right there. Just click on it. It's just nice, fast, easy, all that good stuff. And it was definitely my favorite, because every region has like since the DS has had because the DS had the dual screens, has had a different method of checking stuff like this. And I definitely think that the Dexnav was the cleanest and the best and the easiest to use, and it was just my favorite. And I really wish that they would bring back the Dexnav, but of course they're not going to bring back the Dexnav unless they do a sequel to the Hoenn games again. And I don't think they're going to do another remake of the Hoenn games, at least not for a while. So we're probably not going to get the Dexnav back anytime soon. But I just had to put it on this list because the Dexnav was one of my favorite features in all of Pokemon, just because of how easy it made everything and the whole making shiny honey easy and stuff like that. So that's why it comes at the number 3 spot. So coming in at the second to last spot is something else that I really enjoyed in Pokemon, and that is the Poketech Watch. Now this is basically like the Dexnav of Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and it doesn't do the same thing as the Dexnav, but it's like it functions as that same kind of hub that lets you do a bunch of stuff. And basically, it was a watch that you got after you got to the first major city in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and it allowed you to do a lot of different stuff. I was thinking ahead of myself. It allowed you to do a lot of stuff. And the first thing it allowed you to do is just check the time, which was kind of cool. As a kid, you're always wondering what time it is. If your mom says you got 5 more minutes or whatever, you could always see on that. But that's not why I loved it so much. The main reason why I love the Poketech Watch is because on the far right-hand side of the picture is it showed you your team and the health of your team. So that was so cool. As you could just be looking down to be like, do I gotta run to the Pokemon Center? No, I'm good. Or yeah, I should run back to the Pokemon Center without actually having to open up your team and check it out. Not only does it show you the health of your Pokemon, but it also shows if your Pokemon are holding items. As you can tell by the Empoleon and the Heatran are both holding an item. So if you pick up, like if I picked up the Mystical Water, and I was like, oh, that'd be good for Empoleon, but then I look at the Poketech Watch, I'm like, oh wait, he has the Steel Plate or something like that, so maybe I shouldn't give it to him, or something like that. It's just a little easier to do. And it also shows if your Pokemon is fainted, because the health bar will be gone, and it'll just show like a silhouette of the Pokemon. And if your Pokemon has a status condition, like sleep, paralysis, poison, freeze, anything like that, it'll just show the outline of the Pokemon again, like it would be if they were fainted, except for obviously their health wouldn't be all the way gone. So it's just another good way of checking the status of your team And I just love that. I think it's super great, super easy. Something I just love doing in Pokemon. And the other thing that it had other stuff too, but I don't really remember. The things that really stood out to me were these two that I put a picture of. And that is the calculator. Now, I remember using this calculator to help me on schoolwork in elementary school because I don't know, it was just something that was really cool because we were never able to use calculators. So I could have this out and help me with schoolwork. Don't tell my teacher. Don't don't go tell Mrs. Anderson. Don't do it. But so we had this. But not only was this just a regular calculator, this could also be used as a damage calculator. So if you had, in those games, I don't really think a lot of people bother to do much damage calculation because competitive really wasn't a thing until Black and White and Black and White 2. But it still could be used as a damage calculator. So if you were like, I wonder how much this move would do if I had a sword stance up or something like that, you could be like, this times 2. And it would show up and tell you how much it did. And I thought the calculator was super cool because it was just a little adaptation of something else on there that no other region ever had. And it was definitely unique. No other region has ever done anything like the Poketech Watch. And I definitely think it would be awesome to bring back if they do the remix of Sinnoh like they said they might next. Now, of course, like they did when they did the remakes of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they might change it a little bit, but I really, really hope that you can get the Poketech Watch and you can still see all this stuff. I just think it's awesome, and it was one of my favorite additions. Now, I saved this one for last because this is by far the thing that I think is the strangest thing that I loved in all of Pokemon, because I've seen so many people who said they've hated it, so many people who said they have forgot about it, everything like this, but let me tell you guys, I've spent more time on this than in anything else in Pokemon, and that is the Pokeathlon. Now, the Pokeathlon was something that I loved so much, and I have more fond memories of the Pokeathlon than anything else. And I just, I thought it was so cool. So first, let me tell you what the Pokeathlon is. So basically, the Pokeathlon was a thing just like the Battle Tree, but instead of battling, you had to do different games with your Pokemon. It allows you to get different points and everything like that. Then you could exchange for stuff like evolution stones, heart scales. I believe I used it a lot for heart scales because at the time I didn't know really where to get heart scales, and I didn't really have access to the internet when the game came out, really readily access to the internet. The internet was relatively new, so when these games came out, it was harder to just look up how to do stuff because now you just look up how to do stuff on a game and you get something just like this. But this game came out shortly after YouTube came out, if not before. I think right around the same time that YouTube came out, like 2005 or 6 or 7 or something like that. And it was definitely, it was early, so it was definitely really hard to figure out how to do stuff, so that's why I used it so much. But what was super cool is that each Pokemon had stats, and I'm going to get this wrong, but there were a few different courses that you could run. There was speed, strength, stamina, I don't remember. There were other ones too, and stuff like that, and that allowed you to play games with certain Pokemon that you picked, and you had to try to compete against other people to do this. And as far as I know, you couldn't compete with other people online, but there were tons of games. These 3 here are just 3 that I found pictures of, but there are so many more. I remember one where there was a pennant one where you had to take your Pokemon around there to pick up the pennants, and you had to swipe them back down to the bottom when they got full with the pennants to switch out to your next Pokemon and go and collect more. Stuff like that. There was one where I remember was like a track one. You had to swipe really fast on your DS screen to make your Pokemon run, and they had to avoid different obstacles and jump over hurdles, stuff like that. Super cool. And then you have these 3 that I remembered. The one on the far right is the one I remember better than anyone, and that was the strength one. You had to tap super fast on the little plates at the bottom where the Totodile's blue fist is, as fast as you can, and and when your Pokemon got tired, you had to switch out. You could see the little yellow thing underneath the Cyndaquil. You had to click that, and it would switch you out to the second Pokemon in your party, and you had to try to click really fast, because as your teammate got more tired, then they would not be able to break the things better. and you'd try to break the most at the end. And I remember fiercely, you know, tapping my DS as fast and hard as I could to try to do this. I remember holding it at one point, and I'm going like 90 miles an hour. My mom's like, stop hitting your DS, you're gonna break it. And I'm like, I gotta beat the other Pokemon. I remember like coming back after I beat the game with like a Machamp and being like, I'm gonna crush all you fools with your coughing and your Wooper and your Pichu and everything like that. Just like a Machamp, he's going, wata, wata, wata. I don't know, but it's so much fun. The one in the middle, I believe, there were things that would fly over top of you. I don't remember if they were rings or whatever they were, and they were different point amounts, and you had to run around the thing, click on your Pokemon to jump and catch them. And that was always really, really cool, and you had to get the amount of points. This one here was like a snowball fight. You had to like tap to make bigger snowballs, and then throw them at the Pokemon, because you could hit different sides, and the Pokemon would get dizzy, and when they were dizzy, they couldn't make the snowballs, stuff like that. But it was just, I have so many fond memories of just playing with this. Now, I don't think that they're going to bring this back, even if they do make the remakes of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I don't think that they're going to do, because it wasn't in Gold and Silver, it was in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And a lot of times when they do remakes, they take out, you know, some features like this. So, to be honest, I don't think we're ever going to get a remake of this. You know, I would love for it to do it, but I don't think we ever will. But I just love the Pokeathlon so much. I don't know about you guys, but let me know what you guys think about the Pokeathlon down in the comments, because I loved it. I thought it was a super cool thing, but, you know, I was also like 11 years old when I was playing this, so that was 10 years ago. Wow, 10 years ago. I'm 21. I can't believe it. Like 10 or 11 years ago, I was playing this, and that's crazy. But yeah, just something that I loved so much, and able to get points. I think I played this a lot without even needing the points to get stuff, just to play it, because it was just so much fun. And I remember playing this like within like a couple of years ago again, because I played through Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and I needed to get a Water Stone to evolve my Eevee or something like that. And the only way to get a Water Stone that early was to play this. And I remember playing through this and being like, wow, I remember this being a lot more fun than it is now. But that's just, you know, that's why the number 5 had to be the Pokeathlon. I just loved it. But yeah, so that's the end of today's video, guys. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, because there hopefully will be another video tomorrow, but I don't know, just because if I could get 4 videos out in 1 week, that'll be more than I've gotten out in a week in a long time. But I just really, really, really enjoyed making these videos. But yeah, so if you guys like this, you can go watch other top 5s if you want to go check out the playlist of my top 5s. If you want to watch more Pokemon Showdown, do that too. I uploaded another Pokemon Showdown video last night, so go check that out too. If you're brand new, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because I make a lot of Pokemon content, a lot of different stuff, tutorials, other stuff like that. So if you guys like this in general, just feel free to like, subscribe again. Yeah, you know, hit that bell so you don't miss the videos when I post them. But other than that, guys, that is it from me. And like I say at the end of every video, I really, really hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Nitro General out. Peace out.